Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? For those of you who may not know me, my name is Renarda Joy, and for the next 30 days, I have committed to giving you tools, tips, and insight for those of you who are new to real estate investing. Now, my mission, you guys have heard me say it, my mission is to shrink the intergenerational wealth gap through real estate investing. And I use this platform to sound the alarm. Now, we are on day 16. If you've missed any of our days, I invite you to go back and listen to those conversations. And if you have any questions or if I've given you any type of value, please feel free to leave it in the comments and I will come back and check them. Now, before we get into today's conversation, I want to know who's here, where you're from, and what value have you gotten so far. Today, I want to talk about cash flow. When you're buying your property, you're supposed to be doing your due diligence, right? You need to run your numbers to determine if it's a deal or no deal, and you need to be able to do future simulations. As an investor, your goal should be to buy an income producing property. You want to have cash flow. Remember we were talking about you have to study your P&L, your profit and loss, which tells you a story of your property or your business. It tells you your income as well as your income as well as your expenses. It tells you what's working and what's not working. So how do you compute cash flow? Cash flow is what you're left with after your expenses. Expenses could be like your mortgage, your taxes, trash collection, maintenance, property manager. Those are some example of some expenses. Your goal should always be to decrease your expenses as any which way you can. For example, let's say your property management. Each time you increase your portfolio or you add doors, go back and see if you can negotiate your fees that you're paying for your property manager. Hey, Rosalind in Brooklyn, good to see you. Let's say that your trash collection is coming 3 days. Well, instead of them coming for 3 days, let them come for 2 days and pick up a larger load. Remember, your goal should be to decrease your expenses. Let me give you an example of what cash flow looks like. So let's say you bought a duplex, right? A 2-family, and your expenses is $1,200. That's, again, your expenses is your mortgage, your taxes, maintenance, and so forth and so on. Let's say it's fully occupied, meaning both units are rented out, and you're getting $850 per unit. That's $1,700. If you deduct that, your $1,200, you now have cash flow or $500. That's good. You should always strive to have positive cash flow. How do you increase your cash flow? Well, remember I was telling you, you have to be a meticulous landlord. You have to be good at keeping your records, meaning when does your leases expire? Because each time you increase your leases or your rents, you should get more money for it, right? Well, each time you sign your new leases, you should be increasing your rents. That's another way to have hedge against inflation. Don't count on your tenants calling you to say, hey, is it time for you to increase my rent? They're not going to always do that. That's why it's important for you to keep good records. What's another way you can increase your cash flow? Again, raising your rents is the quickest way. But I'll say this, when I bought my 6-family, I had an empty parking lot. I ended up charging the tenants for parking space. That was another way. I had a coin-op laundry in the basement because there wasn't any laundry facilities that was close by. And I had a large basement that was being unused. So I had someone to come in and build out some storage spaces that I was able to charge each tenant that wanted storage space. I had another property where the phone company wanted to charge me a cell phone, wanted to charge me for the use of my roof for a cell phone tower. They needed to increase their towers. Let's say you have a building or an apartment that's 2 bedrooms. Maybe you can increase it to 3 bedrooms. Now, before you convert to a 3-bedroom, just because you think it's big enough, you need to go down to the city to get an approval. You need to get permits. Let's say you have an attic that you can open up, or maybe you have a garage that you can turn into a studio. Again, before you do any conversion, you need to check with your city, because the last thing you want to do is have an illegal space, because you won't be able to charge for that 3-bedroom. You still have to charge for a 2, but that tenant now has a bonus. So you don't want to do that. That's a waste of money. So when you're looking at properties, look for ways that you can also increase the value of the property. Even if you can't do it today, get it with the idea of you'll be doing this in the near future. And as you're increasing your cash flow, if you have a mortgage, you're also increasing your equity. Equity is the difference between the value of the property and what you actually owe for the property. So those are just some examples of the benefits of having a real estate investing property. So I hope that these tips have been helpful. If you need clarification or if you've gotten any value, please feel free to leave that in the comments. Hey, Yashika, I see you out there from Charleston. That's my hometown and my home girl. It's good to see you. If you've gotten any value or if you need clarifications, please leave it in the comments and I promise I will come back and respond. Now, if you're watching this outside of my Facebook business page, I invite you to come back and join me at renardajoylive.com. That's renardajoylive.com. Now, understand, I don't want you to join for the likes. I want you to join so that you can become an informed investor, what I call a legacy setter. I want to help build your real estate arsenal so that when you're ready to pull the trigger, you have all of the information and knowledge that you need to have. So I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. EST. And if you're just joining us, we just wrapped up day 16. And I invite you to go back and listen to those conversations. And if you've gotten any value, and again, if you have any questions, leave that in the comments and I promise I will come back and check them. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening.